Coming up this week on All About Android, we discuss the dates. We now have dates for Google I.O. We take a look at Polestar's Android Auto experience firsthand. We discuss the new trend of buttonless, portless phones. Gmail for Android takes baby steps toward inbox, and I mean baby steps, and more. All About Android is next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Aftershok's unbelievably comfortable open-ear headphones. Hear music and crystal clear phone calls like you've never heard it before. Visit aaa.aftershoks.com and use code AAA for $50 off the tech bundle. And by Capterra, find the right software for your business with over 700,000 reviews of products from real software users. Visit capterra.com/AAA for free to find the right tools to make 2019 the year for your business. And by Hover, register a domain name and build your online brand with Hover. Their 10th anniversary sale ends January 30th, so hurry and visit hover.com/10years for $10 .coms and small mailboxes, or visit hover.com/twit to save 10% off your first purchase. Hello and welcome to All About Android, episode 405, recorded on Tuesday, January 29th, 2019, your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards.
And I'm Florence.
What's up? I like your earrings, Flo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
They're very, splashy. Like,
Splashy.
pow. It's like celebrate. They're celebrating the the presence of tonight's guest. First time to the show, Vishnu Rajeevan from, well, you're actually an Android developer for Trello. Welcome to the show, Vishnu.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's great to get you on. You came recommended from Wen Tudao, who's been on the show a number of times now. And Wen said, you got to get Vishnu on your show. He would be a perfect fit. So we're really stoked to have you on tonight.
She flatters me.
How long have you worked for Trello, and what do you do there? I know Android development, obviously. But...
Sure. I'm coming up on 3 years in like a month, I think. And so yeah, I'm on the Android team. So I think we're about 10 people now. I've been there for 3 years, doing any kind of feature work, bug work, anything that needs to be done. And I'm remote from Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So nice. Just get to sit out. Walked out of the office, walked over here.
Yeah, pants optional. You know, you just like.
I try to wear pants. It's cold.
Yeah. I understand. It's winter time. Yeah. I should mention that Trello's parent is Atlassian. Atlassian is a sponsor of the Twit Network. However, it doesn't really have anything to do with bringing Vishnu on the show, as is the same case when we bring Wen on the show. So
I think we also need to disclose that Flo is using Trello to help plan a baptism.
Yes.
Oh, okay. And I think I heard something about a dunking baby task.
No, we don't do that anymore.
Oh, okay.
Liabilities.
Okay, that's right.
Right.
I selectively forgot that because I wanted to hear you say that on the show. Cool. Well, Vishnu, this is going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of news, hardware, apps. We've got the arena this week. It's a jam-packed show. I'm really looking forward to the hardware section. This hardware section a little bit later is like made for this show. I feel like
it'll be fun.
This is going to be a banner week in the hardware section and everything else, starting, Victor, with the news.
There's no mystery. Hear what you want. Here's the non-cryptic Android news.
There is no mystery. No, it's the news.
Yeah.
Well,
it was a little short notice to bring up something about a baptism or
probably best to avoid it too. Yeah. And I was worried you were going to give away the lead of our top story in news, because sometimes you steal a little thunder. So thank you for not giving that away and allowing me to make a very special announcement that Google has decided to celebrate Florence and my birthdays in May with another round of Google I/O.
Nice.
Yes. So the date and location of Google I/O 2019, Google got all ready with a fun, cryptic way to announce it. They kicked off the grand reveal with a surreal and clue-filled video and with puzzles, and the earliest solvers of the puzzle would win free tickets to the conference. It's a great idea to get people talking about Google I/O and just say, hey, let's get people figuring out puzzles and solving mysteries. And then a Twitter user captured a JSON file from a Google Test Twitter account, which is now deleted. It was called @internaltest189, and the source code of the JSON file revealed that Google I/O would be from May 7th until May 9th at the Shoreline, the fourth year in a row there. To the point now where the Shoreline is considered the home of Google I/O, and Moscone is a long distant memory, even though I will never forget. The actual contest to solve the puzzle is still underway. Unknown what Google's going to do about it, but hey, we just solved it for you. So if you want to submit your entry to try to win, you could. But May 7th to May 9th, Flo and I's birthday is on May 9th, so we will end Google I/O with another year around the sun.
We'll be rounding it out. It's too bad it isn't the 7th, and you could claim that the big concert is, your birthday.
No, actually, I prefer it this way because it is very stressful to file work for a conference in the middle of wanting to also just celebrate your birthday.
Be happy. So actually, no, you're right, because then it's like you're at the end and you're like, cool, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Work is done.
Yeah,
it's time to play.
It's just like, I just want to play, but I'm on deadline and I have to write about material design.
Vishnu, have you been to Google I/O in years past? What do you think?
Yeah, I've gone, I don't know, past 3 years, I think.
Nice.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Is it so as a developer, is it worth going to? I mean, fun. I mean, hanging out with other Android-like people and stuff like that. But do you get something out of it?
It's really interesting because we talk about this also like right after I/O. Pretty much all the devs like was that worth it? Because a lot of the stuff is streamed. You can have discussions at like local events that are watching I/O live. But what we get out of it is a lot of networking. We get to meet a lot of folks that are in the field, and especially folks that are working with Framework or with like Google Play. And then they do app reviews. They help you with some of your code issues. So there's a lot of use being on site. Unfortunately, the hard thing is getting on site. So
yeah.
Well, all you have to do is solve that puzzle.
Well,
there you go.
There you
big
go.
deal. No one else is working on it. It's cool.
I was going to say it's about as useful as the lottery now.
Yeah, basically. And it's a lot of really smart people working on it too.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping, as every year, it's like a broken record. About this time of year, we hear the date. We spend the next couple of months hoping that we get a press invite. And more often than not, it comes down to the wire, and then we're like, oh, wait a minute. It actually happened. Somehow it happened. So we'll cross our fingers because I would like to go back to Shoreline and check out Google I/O. I think I'm used to it being at Shoreline at this point. Are you, Flo?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine there. It's right next to Google. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It does make sense. It does make sense. And I was a lot more biased when I lived in San Francisco. The prospect of going down to Mountain View was never one I liked, but I never got invited or never got a ticket, so it didn't really matter. And I definitely won't be going this year because I'm not going to California because life. So
life's a little crazy for Ron this year.
A little bit.
Understandable. We'll report back for you, Ron. You will feel like you don't even need to be there. We'll take. Yeah,
I'll be watching at home. In fact, and to be honest, I mean, like this Vishnu note, I mean, like I'm not a developer. I mean, again, we talked about this a lot. Like it's we enjoy the announcement side of it, and I enjoy the keynote. And there's stuff that like if I could go, I would love to sit in and hear about Android TV and hear about Kotlin and hear about like these other topics that I find really interesting. But I don't, the networking aspect and just the kind of scene aspect is there, but the actual practical learning is not so much.
Right. And I mean, same as what you were talking about, Vishnu, like obviously there's a big education component. The networking is really important, both for developers who are there, to kind of make contacts with each other. And then as far as the press is concerned, like when I go, really, like a lot of the times I'm looking for people who are interested enough in this stuff and have a cool story or have a cool app or whatever so that we can pull them into this show. So it ends up being exposure, hopefully,
Boots
for them.
On the ground.
And it's great for networking in that regard as well.
Boots on the ground.
Happy to do that. Boots on the ground.
Gotta have those boots on the ground to know what's going on.
Gotta wear some boots.
Should we talk about what could possibly be announced at Google I/O
maybe
later this year?
Maybe
with relation to Android Q.
Do you mean the Nexus Q?
Ew.
I don't even. It
Wow.
Just, FYI,
I thought that's
saying
what that
Android
was.
Q is
Android Nexus
out of
Q.
the archives. Wow.
I was like, weird ball has
I
to
was
be Q.
looking at those ports on the back. The fact that it has like 4 plugins. It's just
Speaker
very,
ports.
It's got
It's a lot.
USB, HDMI, Ethernet, optical audio.
What was this? 2012 is when this came out.
analog
2013.
speakers. What was this? I'm guessing 2013.
I think
if
it's
I had to pull it out of the
2013.
hat.
No, I think it was earlier. Nexus.
It's a pretty easy
Q.
search. Both my
Yeah,
hands are
right
on the
now.
device, so I can't
2012, June 27th, 2012.
Wow.
Okay.
I still have mine. It's in a box, but I still have it.
Oh, it deserves to not be in a box, Ron. This
Oh,
deserves to be
Well,
on
you
your
never
bookshelf.
know. Ron could very much profit from it. Like 20
yeah, I
years
know.
from
That's
now.
what I'm hoping for. That's
Well,
what I'm
I
hoping
could too, but in the meantime, it's going to be on my bookshelf. In fact, it's probably pretty dumb of me to do this, but I keep it plugged in because then this glows.
for. Well, I would. You don't really do that, do you?
In my office, I do, yes.
It's mood lighting.
Well,
Yes, exactly.
Well, what's interesting is that it is available. You can have one on eBay for about anywhere from $75 to $150.
No way.
They
That's
are still
fantastic.
available on eBay. Yeah.
Wow.
Weren't they like given for free because
Yeah,
there was
they
like
were.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were
Basically, in
reference
the end, they were
devices.
given for free.
Yeah.
Because it was ridiculous that something like this would cost as much as it did, $300 to $400. I can't remember what it was, and only stream YouTube and Google Play Movies plus Google Music, whatever it was called back then. What was it? Play? No, it wasn't even Play then. It was.
just
Yeah.
I can't even remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Google brand. It was probably like Messages or something.
Just music, or I can't remember.
Music
It
by
had
Google.
a different name though. It wasn't Play Music.
No, I
Somebody in the
Google-
comments of this eBay listing says root it, add ADB, flash cyanogen mod, and the queue lives again.
Okay.
Classic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where
so you're
there's a
paying
will.
for the labor, really, of
Yeah.
that person staying up to do all that for you, which I wouldn't mind.
Where there's a will, there's a queue. No. All right,
Anyway.
go for it.
Just like-
Sorry, that felt flat.
It's fine. Sometimes mine fall flat all the time. So XDA, as we know, they love to just like dig in there and get to the root of what is going on, literally. And so here's some more of just what's been going on with apparently Android Q and this code that they found and what could be inside of it when we finally get to hearing more about it. So thus far, native support for secure facial recognition features from facilitated through the hardware in the Android, in the AOSP, the Android open source project. But no more third-party customizations will be needed to make it work, which is going to be a huge thing, just to have that be a universal standard of
be
locking your
embedded.
phone and unlocking your phone.
Nice.
Not the same as the I cannot speak today.
It's okay.
Not the same as the years-old Trusted Faces feature that already exists. It'll be a slightly different facial recognition feature. So I guess I'm assuming that'll be a big marquee. This is the thing we're bringing to
I would imagine
Android.
so.
More security.
It's been a
Not
big
just
deal
with
on
your
iOS,
thumb,
so.
but also with your face. More security. Also embedded in this secret code, new permissions for reading clipboard in background to limit access to the clipboard contents as needed. So you don't have to worry about websites coming in and seeing what you copied and pasted, basically.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like that.
That's the equivalent of having somebody come into your house and look through your scraps of paper.
Yeah,
like there's
or read your
definitely
mind.
there's definitely stuff in there you don't want them to read, or I guess to read your trash. Also, new permissions that pave the way for a foundation to revert apps to an earlier version after an update is applied. For example, if an app was bad or insecure, or I do wonder if there's going to be limitations on this.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
how deep can it go?
Like how
right?
deep can it go? Right. Because
Yeah,
if something
yeah.
gets disabled because Google's like, hey, we want to make this not access this feature anymore, I would imagine they'd want to keep you from downgrading.
right.
Inside this code, also new permissions to control an app's ability to read and write to external storage. So prior to this, a single permission granted full access, and now it's much more granular to improve security. So you're not just like opening all the gates, you're just taking off the chain link.
Just one link.
Just to make these metaphors sound
I like
true.
your metaphors.
New permissions to bring back controls for granting apps access to location data, including fine and coarse resolution in the background. So again, this is just adding more gates to your location data, which with some of the news that we've been hearing this week, you maybe want because you don't want people to know where you like to shop. And also, there was some stuff found in the code. Some stuff to bring activity recognition out of Play services and into the Android open source, the actual code, the feature that can detect if you are walking, running, riding a bike, etc. And this is just to, I would assume, make it more mainstream again, streamline it rather across different manufacturers' devices.
More fully featured.
So lots of things possibly coming.
And we're hearing more and more, like between last week's news or kind of insights from XDA.
Well, it takes a while
and
to
this
dig
week,
in.
It's really so much is about permissions. So getting very focused on permissions and the accessibility around that.
And I feel like we should really ensure that when it comes to, we just really spell it out there, because I feel like we talk a lot about permissions, but we don't really talk about why.
Because privacy and security, that's why.
I mean, those are the buzzwords.
Yeah, they are. Vishnu, I think probably the question at the top of the list, however, I'm totally going to put you on the spot. Dessert, starting with Q.
Yeah. Do you know any?
Oh,
Because I don't.
like they got nothing.
I know. Isn't it weird? Like, at least in previous years, like, you could come up with something. 1, 2. It might not be many options, but there would be a few. Are there with Q?
But is quiche a dessert?
No.
It's eggs.
What if they skip
Got eggs
it?
in it.
Yeah.
Like on the dial tones. What if they skip the Q altogether?
Oh,
And we
boy.
just don't know it.
Like,
We
Q,
just don't know it.
We got nothing. R.
Yeah.
So that would be a big turn.
I'm ignoring all the desserts, the articles already that have been written about it, the link bait ones. But according to Wikipedia, there are no desserts that start with Q.
Okay.
So we're screwed.
Yeah.
My favorite thing that I saw was someone was like, they should make a dessert, name it with a Q, and then that becomes. It was like, just the whole way through.
Nice. That's branding right there.
Yeah.
The Google
Forget Kit Kat. Forget.
So according to
quick.
Wikipedia, not under. So they've got different sections of desserts, right? So there are no Q cakes. There are no Q candies. There is a cookie called a oh man, this is gonna be bad. It's a Greek cookie called Qurabiya. So Greba, which is a shortbread type biscuit. So there you go. It's from the Ottoman Empire.
Kehadinha.
Ah, yes, my people.
There's also Quindim, which is like a pudding. Quindim, which is Brazilian. It's a cold pudding. Yeah. Pudding. Not a lot of Q options here.
It
folks.
could be Nestle Quick.
Yeah,
Quick
Nestle
is
Quick.
a thank you to globalism. It is
That is
known
not
across.
a dessert. Chocolate milk is not a dessert.
Some people.
It's a drink.
You're right. It is a drink. It is.
There's
Yeah,
also-
he's
But
right.
it's a
He's
tasty.
right.
It's a tasty treat.
No, it's
Oh,
not. It's not a treat. It's a drink.
I think I found it.
Oh, what?
There's a pastry from Puerto Rico called the quesito. Quesito. It's a cheese-filled
Quesito.
pastry twist from Puerto Rico. I feel like that checks off a lot of boxes there. That could be a good one. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe.
Quesito.
Yeah.
Maybe they just. Call
I'm
it
really
Q.
curious. I'm curious spelled with a Q.
It's also probably going to be 10.0. So what if they just drop the letters?
Oh no! And they pull like an Apple thing.
And they call it Android X. Yes. Oh no. Oh, that could happen.
Please no.
Yeah. I mean,
That could happen.
they've been following through with every other one.
Oh.
I'm going to
boy.
put my money on quesito. That's my pick.
Oh boy.
I am not giving up on desserts. Like we have to keep this going.
Yeah, we have to keep this going.
I have
There's gotta
years
be
and years
some-
of merchandise corresponding with this. Like it
But-
will ruin everything.
I feel like it just gets harder from here on out, though.
Yeah, it does. But A for creativity.
R and S and T can't be that difficult,
Right.
right?
RST are easy. Q is going to be a tough hill to climb.
Q.
Yeah.
I mean, I have faith that Google can do it. But
Sure.
unless they cop out, and if they cop out and go with like an X or something like that, I'm going to be severely disappointed. But okay. All right, good. I'm happy we totally solved that.
Pixel X.
Up next, this is really interesting. So I have to get my iPad to actually show me notes here. We talked about this in previous weeks. Volvo's new Polestar car, it's their all-electric vehicle, is going to have Android Automotive, like a new take. I think they showed it off briefly at last year's Google I/O. It's like Android Auto, but for the entire kind of interior operation, and it's different. Well, if you go to hmi-app.polestar.com on your mobile device, which is what I have done, and then you add it to your home screen, you can launch kind of a walkthrough of their experience. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this. Explore Polestar 2, start the experience, and here you are. Here's the in-dash Android Auto. And you can kind of play around with it and kind of get a sense of, oh yeah, and they've got some like Tesla-like kind of special things embedded in there as well. But you can get a sense of like Android controlling your in-dash whatever. This seems like a lot of information to have on your in-dash thing, your full calendar. But I guess if you're Elon Musk or an equivalent, you might need that. You play music. You got all your stuff here with some really hip tunes. All of your seat controls, climate controls.
Are you actually controlling a car here?
No, not that I know of.
I was wondering if there's a car somewhere.
Somebody's Volvo in the parking lot.
If I am, I'm really sorry, whoever it is.
Interesting. Okay, so this is literally just a remote control for the car, or rather, it's like Android Auto.
Yeah.
For the car. So instead of in your dash, it's on your phone.
Well, but this is like simulating it on the phone. Imagine this on like a large screen, a la getting into a Tesla and seeing a big screen and having all of that control. So this is Android Auto, but it's Android Auto in a different way.
It's the QNX.
Yeah, it's their embedded operating system that will be installed inside the Polestar. So this is just a simulation, obviously. I'm not actually in a Polestar right now. Difficult to believe, but it's true. I'm not in a vehicle. I'm on the set of All About Android.
Elon Musk thinks that we're living in a simulation, and if that's a simulation, it's a simulation inside of a simulation.
It's all just bits.
And then what about this?
Whoa.
What about this? And then you can.
Oh, I see.
This is how you drive the car.
That's cute.
Why did they do that?
This is my app for the arena. It's called Polestar Space Warp. No.
Wow.
How does that help you drive your car?
It doesn't. In fact, I think that helps you wreck your car.
There's a development team that was devoted to that.
Yeah.
That's strange.
Anyways,
it's usually just one of us on like a Friday.
Working.
I get worried.
What do you think about this as like an Android Auto kind of layout? I like it.
I have a lot of feelings about this.
Yeah? What are your feelings?
I don't know if I said this here. I probably have, but I am not a fan of the giant screen in the car. Like I just haven't been a fan of that. I've seen it in the Teslas. I've seen people using it in the Teslas, but because of an article that I wrote 5 years ago, I was thoroughly convinced by a person that I interviewed, one of the fathers of touchscreens, about why having touchscreens in the car is a bad idea. And that's just because it is as long as we are operating vehicles, like having this much stimulation in the middle of a vehicle that we're supposed to be operating without any tangible buttons that you can touch is dangerous. It's not, you'll never 100% be on the mark because you don't have any tangible feedback for where buttons are for like HVAC controls and things like that. Now I'm in my car, I don't have to take my eyes off the road to, turn down the music or to skip a track or even to make a phone call. I do that all from the physical buttons. And so I'm very...
So not to play devil's advocate against your Luddite opinion,
yes,
but we've got to start somewhere, right?
I don't think that we should have touchscreens in the car as long as we're operating vehicles as humans.
So but you don't think, but it's got to touch. Isn't the use case enough to necessitate the advancement of technology to appease the safety concern you have? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. I just worry that we would not move fast enough before right now we have a very small subset of cars that actually have this, but I just think if we're driving, we're having these giant screens blasting at us. It just doesn't seem right.
It doesn't. Well, yeah.
I know I have a very let-out opinion about this, but it's just we have such a car culture here in California, and every day, even just like coming here, I see so many people distracted by things in their car.
You look over in
and
their
just
window
me
and
knowing how distracted I am shuffling through songs on Android Auto, and I just think like I could not have this any bigger in my car. And I think this is a great implementation of user experience and how to make this work with Android, and it's a great way to show how to make Android into an embedded system to be used in the future. But unless this were 100% voice control operated, like better than the way the Google Home is now, the way it responds, I would feel it doesn't make me feel comfortable. I want to be able to,
I have more confidence in a touchscreen than I do in voice commands.
Yeah. See?
Well, I would, because touchscreens require eyes, and
right.
Your eyes should be in one place when you're driving. I think the problem here is that we've outpaced self-driving with infotainment software.
Yeah.
Like Volvo now currently has like giant 8-inch touchscreens that control everything in like their XC lines and stuff.
So does Toyota, by the way.
Yeah.
For rental cars I've been in.
So they spent so long trying to figure out how to do it, they didn't think about if they should.
Yeah, and I think the problem was like Tesla came out with a giant screen, and everyone was like, "Well, we got to have giant screens now."
Yep.
Spared no expense.
Very everyone's going. Yep. Yeah, hang on to your butts.
Hang on to your
butts. Just said.
Hopefully they put like a good processor in though, because the worst is when it's slow and you're like trying real hard.
Yes, because then you're paying attention at what's the screen loading instead of being prepared for somebody to hit the brakes in front of you.
Yeah, because the last thing you want when you're like driving a vehicle is the frustration that comes from a slow and janky UI.
I like it in a rental car. I like touchscreens in a rental car because it makes it very easy to like use, and you can kind of pick it up fast. But I just think about like for every day, and this is it's just worrying me, all these touch screens. I like the idea of heads up display, maybe something like showing in the windshield. I like the way that, just because I would like to come back from the relative negativity of that opinion, I remember the way they showed it off in the Maserati, and they had a lot of the data show up in the little panel right in front of your wheel.
Right.
So that's
what Audi does.
It was nice to have that like information just like cycling in.
Yeah, because there is something different also about like glancing down at something and then back up. You still have the road
because you're doing that
general
anyway.
Line of view
to look at your
having to look down there like completely takes even your peripheral vision out of that kind of usable space of the front windshield, and it's very distracting. Yeah, I feel you. I'm picking up what you're laying down.
I have very strong opinions about this. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Flo, for sharing your very strong opinions. Ron, you have the email.
Yes. So we got an email from Tom who says, I've been an All About Android listener since the beginning. Thank you, Tom. Tom says, I'm a big believer in supporting the devs. Support your devs, folks. And purchasing an app that I use when given the opportunity. But I'm not happy when I submit a bug request and then get an auto reply letting me know how busy we are, and maybe we already know about your issue, and maybe someday we'll answer your request for support. Maybe the fix will show up in a future release. Really? When I pay for an app or participate in a beta, in all caps, by the way, beta, I'm a customer and expect something in return. Maybe not a next day response, but some kind of response to my problem. So what happens when I get a response like that? I leave a bad but honest review in the Play Store about the support I didn't get and look for a replacement app. Most recently, I found a great app that I purchased that plays audiobooks, and I'm appreciating more than my old standby app that I use for audiobooks and podcasts. Please, devs, you need to keep up your part of the customer supplier agreement, or we won't be your customers anymore. Which is it's just a true statement. I mean, it's tough because I got to imagine there's a lot of developers out there, whether it's single people or developer groups that are small, and you have an app that takes off. Customer service is very hard to keep up with.
Yeah.
I read this and I was like, hey, good on them for doing an auto reply. At least you got a response.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I had an issue with one of the major airlines in December, and it took me about 3 weeks to get anyone to get back to me. to any sort of response or anything like that. So this isn't a problem that's limited to just developers. This is just a general business thing, and a lot of companies have a hard time getting this right. So while Tom, I agree with you, I also think maybe be a little more compassionate or a little, have a little leeway with the developers. You're not wrong, but I don't know. It's hard. It's small business. It's hard.
Right.
Yeah. It's a tough situation.
Small business being the key. Kevin Barry, if I remember correctly, developer of Nova Launcher, when he was on, he talked about exactly this. I can't remember which episode it was, so look it up. But he talked about this, how when you are a developer of an app, and Vishnu, I'd like to ask your opinion on this, but when you are a developer of an app, and especially when that app becomes as successful as something like Nova Launcher is, like that propels you, whether you want to or not, into a new realm of needing to provide support to literally thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people all the time. That's a full-time job, depending on how popular your app is.
That doesn't
Yet
pay.
you were just a single developer that created this thing, and here you are. So I think the problem has the potential to be scaled so far out there that even a single email might be very difficult. What are your thoughts on this, Vishnu? Being the one person on here that is actually an Android developer, I'm curious to hear what your take is on this.
I've been I think 8 years now in the field. So I started as an indie dev, did consulting. Now I'm on a big team. I've had apps that I support myself, development and support, which means like responding to reviews, handling bug fixes, all that stuff for, I think, that app was like 100 to 200,000 users. And then to Trello now, where we're at about, I think, 3 to 5 million. I don't remember what that number is at now, which is just an obscene amount of users. And so our apparatus has to scale at that point, because you go from being one person to being a team of 10. We now have a support team. They respond. I think the key here, though, is that you have to have the mindset that like customer support is a priority. Because like as an indie dev, your idea is like, all right, I'm going to write down a whole bunch of code. I'm going to build something great and people are going to love it. And I'm going to make a whole bunch of money. But like not everyone's going to love it. And even if they do, they're going to have problems. It's software. And so like I find the auto reply thing to be useful, but like only if you do come around to like after like some sort of triage, you like actually come reach out to the user, take the time, because like that customer support and like customer service is really important when you're trying to build any kind of app business or any business even.
The auto reply is a good first step, and the problem is that you really need to you need to be ready with the second and third step. The auto reply isn't the only step you can take. I do agree. Like I've been involved in small business. I've been involved in large business as well, and I've always stated and pressured my partners and my employees and things like that someone has a bad experience that does more damage than anything you can ever do. And so everything should be a positive experience. And like like I know when I started doing the iFanboy podcast, we had a rule that everyone who wrote into us got a response back. And like that's how you build a brand that people trust and want to be a part of. And it's hard. It's as important and as hard as developing the software that you're selling, I think.
Oh yeah, I would say it's even harder because it takes like debugging code is easy compared to like debugging a person's problem,
right?
Because they have some interesting use case. Maybe they're like using it in Arabic, which changes the orientation of the whole screen. All sorts of problems that you have to sort of figure out, and a good support team and a good support engineer can handle that. But if you're just like a dev, it's not easy. But you have to figure out how to take the time. The other thing is, like, as a user, also be empathetic, because every time I read a review on something that I've built that's bad, I immediately I need to fix this. Someone didn't like what I built, so I need to make sure it's good for the next release. So we are doing our not we as like a huge collective, but I'm hoping the most of us are doing what we can to make sure the customers are happy.
Yeah, hopefully, developers who are actually creating things want to improve, their apps based around these suggestions. I know from a creating shows standpoint, it's a very similar thing, right? Like we might get a ton of feedback to the show, and we do, which makes it really hard to reply to each and every email. But we definitely read them all, and we definitely consider what all of that says, and that helps us to shape and form what this show does. I have to imagine it's hopefully that way with a lot of these apps and everything. And also I would say from a user standpoint, apps that get customer service right do so, like, that's such a huge win. You know, if you are an independent developer and you create something amazing and it catches that wave, and then you also have excellent support, that just sets you miles ahead of a lot of the other apps and people, you know, that aren't providing that support. Customer support goes a long way. So it's not easy. I have to imagine it's really difficult to get it right. But if and when you can, that's going to speak volumes for your product and your brand identity. So
doesn't Google offer something that like supports devs in this manner?
Like, and in what way?
Like, I don't know. Or maybe I'm just thinking something I heard. I'm just thinking, wouldn't it be, because if you're a singular dev or if just you and your friend at home, like you're not going to be able to make that time to help people with their problems. And so like a centralized, like.
Yeah, the problem there becomes like cost.
Yeah.
Like margins are already razor thin with apps. You have to like pry $1 out of a user's hand for, you know, unlimited support on an application. So it's tough to figure out that kind of budgeting also, because it's either time or it's money, or it's time and money. And when you're a small team, you know, that's a hard calculation to figure out.
Yeah, and especially if you're a developer of an app that, let's say, isn't in the hundreds of thousands, but is in the 5,000 or 10,000 region. It's not like you haven't sold a good number of apps, but has that money been a good trade-off for the level of support that a user expects, or, you know, and the costs associated with that? There's got to be like a critical number that you pass that it suddenly opens up that playfield and makes that a lot more possible. But in low numbers, it might seem like that's a lot of downloads, but maybe it still isn't enough to kind of support the infrastructure behind it to satisfy what people expect. So really great email. Tom, thank you for sending that in. Awesome discussion there. Let's take a break and thank the sponsor of this episode, and then we'll get into a really fun hardware section. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Aftershock. Speaking of hardware, this is some really cool hardware right here. These are headphones. Aftershocks uses a patented bone conduction technology. The headphones don't go inside your ear like earbuds that hurt or they're constantly slipping out. Aftershocks don't do that. These headphones feature, I mean, they're just super comfortable. It's like they rest on top of your ears and in front of your ears, as you can see right here. I'm trying to talk in the microphone and show you the headphones on my head at the same time. They rest very gently just outside of your ear, produce sound by sending mini vibrations through your cheekbones to your inner ear. So you're actually bypassing your eardrum entirely. If I had these off, it's bone conduction. If I had these off, you would hear very, very little. But the second it touches your cheekbones, you hear everything. The titanium wraparound headband is super lightweight. It's flexible for durability and portability. You get crystal clear phone calls. You can listen to music like you've never heard before with Aftershocks. Premium pitch guarantees a premium audio experience with wide dynamic range and rich bass. Has wireless Bluetooth 4.1 connectivity, convenient multi-point pairing. They are IP55 certified, so you can sweat. It'll repel dust and moisture. So if you want to wear these to the gym in workouts or in bad weather, you can do that. 6 hours of continuous music and calls on a single charge with 10-day standby time. And they charge fully in about an hour and a half. And a hassle-free 2-year warranty as well. And Aftershocks are safer for driving and really for any outdoor activities because they actually allow you to hear what's going on around you, like traffic, emergency vehicles, that sort of stuff. Perfect for if you're out running or if you're riding a bike. You're not closing yourself from your environment. It's like you're adding this to the environment. It's just on top of it as a layer. Order an Aftershocks tech bundle now, which includes Trex Air, a pop socket, large portable storage case, portable power bank, and travel tumbler insulator. You can visit AAA or visit AAA.aftershocks.com and use code AAA at checkout, and you'll get $50 off. That's aaa.aftershocks.com and use code AAA. Make sure and plug that in, and you'll get $50 off. And we thank Aftershocks for their support and welcome them on board this show all about Android. Thank you, Aftershocks. And now it's time for some hardware.
Well, this isn't anything for the U.S.
Yeah.
Which is
That's
fine.
true.
Which is fine.
We're starting low and then we're scaling up in this hardware block.
We're So for those of you European fans, thank you for tuning in today, because today we're going to talk about the Xiaomi Go phone, which is the Redmi Go. So it runs Android Go. They announced it via Twitter today, and so this is running Android 8.1. And because it's in the Go program, you can expect that it will be kept. Maintained, I should say.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes, sorry.
I was like, yes, you will buy it and you will keep it.
Yes,
that is true.
You will keep it, because for the transaction, you will keep the thing. That's it's got a 5-inch 720p display, quad-core Snapdragon 425 on the inside, 1 gig of RAM, which sounds exceptionally low in this world of 4 gig and up, a 3,000 milliamp battery, which I imagine will last a very long time with these not very taxing specs, an 8 megapixel rear facing camera, 5 megapixel front facing camera, and it is expected to cost around €90. Excuse me, €80. Which is around $90 if you do the USD conversion.
Right. And I mean, this is really kind of the point, the driver around Android Go is, basically it's a version of Android that works, that kicks into gear for any devices 1 gig of memory or under. Mm-hmm. So its pure target are these low-end devices, low-cost devices, and in the hopes that, if you were to tack on a full version of Android on a device with these specs, you might have a hard time. You might have a bad day. But this is supposedly a better way to do that. And Xiaomi, they have theirs now. So if you want to save a lot of money, maybe you don't do a lot with your phone, or maybe just need a break on the cost.
This will sell.
Yeah, there are
especially
absolutely
in the region they're launching it in.
It's going to do really well, and Xiaomi is a powerful global brand. Well, maybe not global, but they're powerful in certain markets. Definitely not here, which is a bummer.
No, they're global. They're just not here.
Right. But there's certain markets that they are way more present in.
Yes.
And I hope that someday they're able to bring their phones here, because then we might see their foldable phone. And Xiaomi really wants you to know all about their foldable phone. This is where this hardware section starts to get really fun here. Apparently, the company posted a video to Weibo that shows Xiaomi co-founder and president Bin Lin with a tablet device in his hand in landscape. It starts out that way anyways. Then he rotates the device and folds the sides back onto itself. And hopefully this is the video. So he's got it in kind of like a tablet mode here. Oh, yeah. You know what? Go to the next link in the doc, because this one kind of has commentary on it, too. If you go to the next link in the doc, you'll see it. He folds the sides back onto itself, and it becomes a portrait-oriented phone. And it looks
I love. I mean, I love this. Once we pull up the Twitter post with the video, I watched the whole thing before the show, and I was giggling as I was watching it.
So he's on it. He's just relaxing, just chilling.
Looking through.
It looks like a super thin, cool tablet. I like the form factor. It's in one hand. It's like the size of a Kindle.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of an arch to it, though. You can kind of see it kind of arching back. Yep. You're so used to seeing it as a tablet. It's kind of like, wow, that's really strange. But then he does this.
Magic. Boom.
And it becomes like a portrait mode phone. I don't know if it's actually a phone. I can't see that you can actually make a call on it. But is this the future? A wraparound phone? Did you see that?
Yeah, the display is on the back. It's wrapped around.
So why does it wrap around? What purpose does the wrapping do? Just make it smaller?
Maybe you can fold it over your wrist like a gauntlet.
That would be nice. A snap bracelet.
Hey.
I'm sure it's going to happen someday. So Vishnu, does this give you hope for this like emerging trend we keep hearing about foldable displays and how it's totally going to be worth the high price tag? Does this spark joy in your life?
This gives me heart palpitations. Can't imagine like trying to support this.
So not good heart palpitations.
That's a conversation we should be having.
Scary heart palpitations.
Yes.
When Chrome OS came out with Android support, it was a lot of struggle making sure that the app could like resize correctly, but also handle being like not the primary app the user's using and still getting updates as it needs to. Luckily, Google has released folding phone APIs or like support in frameworks. So hopefully they're using it, but the chances are low. So,
well, I watching this video, Victor, if you could back up to when he does the fold, I got to tell you, the video snap process doesn't instill a lot of confidence in this device. By the way, it's like
it literally seems like they
all those touch points
as early as possible.
It's like 6 different adjustments that happen. It starts blinking and flashing, and it doesn't know which way it wants to go. It eventually, that's true. Eventually, it gets there, but.
So what I think is fascinating is that I'm actually having a difficult time with my OnePlus 6T because the phone is so big and my hands are when I'm going all the way to the left to do something on the keyboard, I'm hitting with the bottom of my thumb the right side of the screen and causing lots of problems. I can't imagine when the entire thing is screen how many times your touch will trigger something and cause it to go reorient because it thinks that's the version that's the way you're looking at it. Like that's a difficult thing to program.
I think even in that video you see him like begin to do the fold and touch like things happen, I think. So
touch things happen. That's a good way. That's a good way to describe it.
Like you can do palm rejection, but finger rejection, that's like how do you do that? It doesn't make any sense.
How would it know that that's an intentional finger versus an unintentional
It'd be
finger?
Like, Xiaomi, I'm about to fold you, and then
hey Xiaomi, I'm gonna fold you now.
I just like in the developer options, there's going to be an unintentional finger option where you can set the threshold of unintentional touch.
Right.
I'm just waiting to get the customer service email. I folded my phone and I can't find my Trello card.
And you respond with an auto reply, right? Thank you for your.
I'll get back to you sometime.
This is where the heart palpitations kick in.
Right. Have you checked the back of your phone? Is it folded into the back of the display?
Yeah, it's behind.
Right.
I was gonna say this is a good conversation that we should be having with developers. I think we should bring them on the shows. Like, how do you all feel about folding phones? Because for us, for some of us, it can be very exciting, a very exciting venture into a whole new world of usability. But the developers are the ones who have to create the software to work with these things. And that introduces, as we were just talking about, like random touch points. What do you do? What do you do when your screen is stuck in folding mode?
Pretty much every new hardware form that comes out, there's like the fan in me that's like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then there's like the money-making side of me that's like, wait, I have to write for that. So that's the interesting balance.
Well, that's 3 months of late nights for me to make that sprint.
It's like watches.
And because this is Android, nothing ever gets simpler.
Yeah.
When you add a new use case to it, it's not like you're getting rid of another one. It's just another thing to remember.
I am happy that Google's sort of being proactive here alongside the Face ID thing that got leaked for Android Q. Mm-hmm. They're trying to beat the rush.
Yeah.
Because they didn't do that with fingerprint, and then there was 4 different fingerprint implementations.
Yep.
Right.
So I think that's a good move that we're seeing them try and jump the gun before these kind of form factors come out.
Yeah. Good on Google to learn.
Yeah.
Sometimes that doesn't happen.
At least somebody's learning.
Yes. All right, Ron, you're up.
Well, listen, so I know folding phones are a hot button topic for us, but the future might be more related to buttons than you think. Actually, it might be no buttons and no ports. The Vivo Apex 2019 is the best example of this. It's a new phone announced. It has no USB port, no headphone port, nothing. No hole in this phone at all. The USB port is replaced by pogo pins on the back called mag port for charging and data transfer.
Okay.
There's no power or volume buttons. They're replaced by, quote, touch sense technology via capacitive touch and pressure sensitivity along the frame for controls. It's got no speaker holes or grill. That was replaced by body sound casting technology that turns the display into a speaker.
Oh.
It's got full in-display fingerprint sensor, which by the end of this year is going to be standard on every phone. By the way, I'm not as impressed by that.
But full screen, not just like a portion. I think it's like the entire screen. So that's
touch all over the place, and it'll
touch
touch
anywhere you want. Fingerprints everywhere. It's got glass and metal with rounded edges all over. My dream come true. No bezels on the front, thanks to no front-facing camera. Yes, I love it. It's running the Snapdragon 855 with 12 gig of RAM because you need 12 gig of RAM these days.
Yeah.
And 256 gig of storage and 5G enabled via duplex PCB design. So no big protrusions. And you can expect this to be seen at Mobile World Congress next month. And if we're finding out about this a month ahead of Mobile World Congress, what other spectacular delights will MWC hold for us? Because this is bananas. I love it.
Yeah.
It was like a headache of a phone to use.
I was going to say, Wade County made a good comment in the chat. What happens when you need to recover this phone and there's no USB port?
Pogo pins.
That's the thing. No ports, no buttons, no need to recover. It will always work. Yeah,
that's supposed to be the kicker.
It's perfect.
That's supposed to be the kicker, is that it will always work.
Yes.
It's not meant for you to fix.
It will always work. We promise. Trust us.
And ever.
No bezel.
Didn't HTC try this button thing? Like the no physical button to like a grand failure of a situation?
Were they too soon? I'm trying to remember which phone this was.
It was a U12 maybe? I don't know.
U12?
It was like blue. But it had
yeah.
It had buttons that weren't buttons.
It had the squeeze. It had the squeeze thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's where we got the squeeze from.
Yeah, now it's a Pixel. Yeah.
Review units went out and the buttons were coded wrong. Like they weren't reading capacitive enough or enough like capacitive signal. And they had to send an update to make your buttons work.
Wow.
I like my buttons. I like my buttons to be updated via code updates. That's good. This is the future. It's going back to the car argument. It's the buttons don't exist. So that's really great.
There's some engineer being like, "Oh, that button. Oops."
I mean, it's important to note that while it doesn't have a USB port, it does have this mag case thing, which I imagine the other end of it is USB, right, or some other way to do it. So it still has the concept of charging and plugging in something to recover it or whatever. It's just not working the way we're traditionally familiar with USB-C. I'm more interested by the no front-facing camera. I think that decision, I'm 100% cool with that decision because I don't take any pictures of myself. And I think it gets a lot of the guts out of the bezel to get a display like this with gets a lot of that electronics out of the front of the phone, which I think is a bold decision, but one I think other manufacturers should be making.
Yeah. And I know I put in the notes no bezel on the front. You can see a little bit of a chin bezel down there. It's a little bit thicker there, but there's no bezel up at the top, no notch, no punch hole or hole punch or whatever.
No teardrop,
no nothing.
Yeah,
just display.
I'm more interested in like the speaker because like it's gonna be vibrating your face. It'll be real weird if you use your phone to make phone calls.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a weird vibrating
I wonder
thing.
if that acts like kind of like a bone conduction sort of thing when you've got it up to your ear. Maybe it's a lower level version of it.
Probably.
Interesting, Vivo. They keep doing this. Vivo.
Well played.
Vivo as a brand keeps.
But it's not just Vivo though.
Oh,
it's not just Vivo. Vivo's not the only one doing a buttonless, holeless phone.
Oh,
holeless is the buzzword for 2019, folks. We're gone from all the holes to no holes. That's what you wanted. So the Meizu I always feel bad. I never pronounce it properly, but the Meizu Zero has no buttons, no speaker holes, no SIM card slot, and no charging port. Its design is a single slab of ceramic and glass, and it is dubbed, quote unquote, the world's first holeless phone because that was the thing that manufacturers were competing for while we were asleep.
We didn't know.
5.99 AMOLED display, but there's a narrow chin and a top bezel similar to the Galaxy S9. In-glass fingerprint sensor display is the Speak with M-Sound 2.0 technology.
Oh, the speaker, yeah. Sorry.
Yes. Charging is completely wireless with up to 18 watt via Super M Charge wireless technology. Samsung's wireless charging is 9 watts. Apple's is 7.5 watts.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot of watts. Which concerns me. That is a lot of watts. Virtual power and volume buttons on the sides with haptic feedback. Okay. I can see that kind of like being an innovation thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, similar to the Vivo.
The eSIM replaces the SIM slot. Okay. IP68 rated due to the fact that there are no holes.
Oh, yeah, that would do it. Yeah.
Penetrated by water. Snapdragon 845, last year's processor, and we'll hear about this at MWC as well. So this is definitely going to be a holeless World Congress.
A holeless World Congress. Wow. Okay, so then this is obviously the big trend.
And folding phones and teardrops. That's it. That's what we've come to. This is what you wanted, folks.
This is what you asked for. When you stopped buying new phones to replace your old phones and smartphone sales started declining, they had to come up with new, unique things that you don't have yet. You did this.
I love it.
This is your fault.
This is the crazy Mike Judge like future that we you know.
So, do we think that like let's take a step back to last year, and in-display fingerprint sensors was all the rage.
Which is cool.
Even though we weren't seeing it any real mainstream phone, it was the brands like Vivo and Meizu and kind of some of these Chinese brands
brought it.
And then it kind of trickled into the OnePlus device. So this time next year, are all the devices going to have no ports, and
I think
they're all going to be holeless?
Sorry, I keep interrupting you. It's just because I'm enthusiastically
agreeing
that it is going to be a flagship thing. These are all flagship things.
But first appearing in the Chinese phones.
Yeah, and
we probably won't be able to get in this market.
I talk to people who know the mobile market overseas, which I don't, not in that area, because I've never been to Asia, so I don't know any of the countries, what the market is like there. And so, but I hear that is where a lot of this innovation takes place, because you have people who are just really into these things. So really into the innovation in this sense.
I guess we'll see if this inspires more smartphone
Well,
sales.
it does create manufacturing line for that kind of...
That's true.
For making those kind of features. And so when you have that manufacturing line created by Chinese brands like Vivo and Meizu, I would expect that would trickle down to other people. And then that's when they start going, hey, did you know we could put a teardrop on your phone? Would you like for us?
That's now an option. That's on the menu.
That's on the menu. You see, yes, would you just fill it out here and here and here what you would like?
I would like a teardrop. I would like no holes.
Yes, I would like a fingerprint scanner.
There's got to be some sort of algorithm that just like you answer a quiz and then it tells you this is your phone.
What futuristic smartphone are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Answer this quiz. It's going to
be the next version of Moto Maker.
Right.
Yeah. I mean.
Okay, so do the holeless, buttonless phones inspire fear in you in the same way that a foldable phone does, Vishnu?
Not so much.
Not as much.
Because like the system knows how to handle notches and stuff now, and buttons are not my problem. Like the system tells me the volume button was pressed. Okay, volume button was pressed. Like
right.
The interesting stuff to me is like the in-screen phone or fingerprint, where it's like all over the screen.
Yeah.
Because like, let's say you're logging into LastPass and you get that biometric prompt request and you touch up in the right corner. Now, does the system tell me that you like touched outside the dialogue, so I should cancel, or does like your biometrics kick in? So it's like, what is that touch? Because you've now just overloaded the touch action on that screen. It's not just a touch; it's also a biometric authentication.
Right.
Interesting.
So
maybe
hopefully, yeah, that's like on the framework side. They need to tell us as developers what that touch actually is.
Or maybe LastPass says, in this case, this is where you put your finger.
Right.
Right in the center,
Touch
which
right
is kind of
here.
what they do
Touching
now.
this heart circle.
Yeah. Touch the phone right here. Okay. Got to move on. Let's take a break and thank the sponsor of this episode, and then we'll get into some app news. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Capterra. We've come a long way in 30 years, so why does it sometimes feel like the software that you use every day at work is somewhere stuck in the past? You can take a leap into the future by finding the right software for your business, and all you have to do is go to capterra.com/AAA, and you can do that really easily. Capterra is the leading free online resource, and they're going to help you find the best software solutions for your business with over 700,000 reviews of products from real software users. You're going to be able to discover everything that you need. And, of course, best case scenario, the best part, you're going to be able to make an informed decision on that software because there's so many people rating and reviewing these products. You're going to know what the right choice is. Search more than 700 specific categories of software, everything from project management to email marketing, to yoga studio management software. Yeah, that's in there. No matter what kind of software your business needs, Capterra makes it easy to discover the right solution fast. So you can join the millions of people who use Capterra each month to find the right tools for their business. Supercharge your own business and use Capterra to do it. Visit capterra.com/AAA for free. You'll find the right tools to make 2019 the year for your business. That's capterra.com/AAA. capterra.com/AAA. Punch that in, check it out, and we thank Capterra for their support of All About Android. All right, and now it's time for just a couple of pieces of app news. So, about that call screen feature that is on Pixel phones that I've still hardly used because it really just seems like way more work than just not answering the phone. Apparently, you can press one of the volume buttons when a call is being robotically navigated, and then you'll be able to hear the other side. This is more of an intentional sort of thing, not similar to Apple's unique FaceTime bug. That may sound a little similar to this. Not the same thing. That's a bug. This is a feature. Although it is very interesting that this feature, I feel like they never really revealed this in any sort of official way.
I love it.
It was like this was discovered. Like, oh, and by the way, if you actually want to hear what the people are saying, because I know the two times that I've used this feature, I did wonder, like,
whose voice is it?
Whose voice is it? Am I talking to a robot? Maybe that's a robot.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyways, you can do that now. And I still don't know who's using this other than a few handful of times.
Me.
Do you use it on a regular basis?
Yes.
Right on.
Always. I use it a lot.
Power to the people.
Don't call me if I don't know you. I don't want to talk to you.
But you just like letting it just go to voicemail, and if they're not important, they just hang up. Like
I haven't. So I don't have the password to my voicemail. I forgot what it was, so I haven't touched my voicemail in years.
Well, that makes it even easier. Then you just don't get back at all. Then it's
and with not just that, I get a constant barrage of spam calls, and they call all the time. Like I'll be in the car and they'll call me, and this is for me is a way for me to get back at them for bothering me and just for annoying me. So this is what I use call screening for. It really is. It's a vindictive thing, and I love that I can listen in because then I can listen to who you are on the other line, who's calling me to try and trick me into thinking that I've won tickets to a cruise.
I think I just realized what they need to do to make me use this. They need to integrate a soundboard into it. So that when I really want to, I can just start sounding like foghorns and stuff and get them to hang up, annoy them to death, and then they just disconnect. then maybe I'd use it. Vishnu, have you used this fantastic feature?
Oh yeah, it's wildly entertaining.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, see, apparently I'm missing out.
You're playing like a choose your own adventure text
Yes.
game at that point.
Yes.
Like,
Will they choose it or not?
yeah, you're like this prompt comes up. You're like, okay, I'm gonna respond with this, and then it's actually some spam on the other side. I always get spam calls like, do not hang up.
Right.
I'm gonna hang up now.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for saying that. Goodbye.
Yeah. But it's really fun seeing that show up.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was going to say, sometimes it's a real person who's calling to trick you.
Yeah. And they deserve to talk to a robot.
Listen, there's going to be a warrant for your arrest to the IRS if you don't call them back. I'm just saying.
The report has already been made. This is urgent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got to get back to them. All
I need this for my mailbox now, my physical mailbox.
Right.
Junk mail.
To repel the junk mail. Okay, so you both use it. Would you use it even more if it had a sound bank?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is obviously a feature that just needs to
I want to
happen.
be able to plug in, rappers, so I can have
Or Arnold Schwarzenegger, get into the chopper,
Get down.
That could be great.
XDA does say that the software bug a button might be appearing soon. I think they've seen clues to that, so it won't be this cryptic volume knob at the right time sort of thing.
Also, I think this would really come in handy for when people are speaking bilingual languages and the call screen is not picking it up. Because I do have, Romanian people calling me and that I do need to talk to.
Oh, okay.
About babies that are going to be baptized. But I don't know them and I don't know their number.
Do you refer to them to the Trello board?
No, that's only for the family members.
All right. So cool. All right. Well, if you don't use your phone to talk to people, you could use your phone to email people. And if you were one of the many people who used Inbox, you know that it's nearing the end of its existence. But Gmail will continue to get updates, and Google promises they're going to bring all of Inbox's best features to the app. And first up is a visual refresh on the Android app. If you've gotten the update to Gmail, you might have noticed this now. The app now looks more like the web counterpart of Gmail, which rolled out last April, which I got to say I like more and more every day. It's got a more modern look based on the material theme. Honestly, if you get this, you'll notice it looks just like the Google Search app or Google Now or whatever, or the Google News app. It's getting that visual upgrade that is going across all of Google, which includes lots of white space, that lighter, cleaner look. It gives you easy access to the account switcher, which is something I need because I have 90 Gmail accounts now. And the view options include default, comfortable, and compact, just like the web. It still doesn't use Inbox's intelligent bundling, critical, and no tasks integration yet. And the gradual rollout is starting today. And I think it's funny because you can see where different Google products are in the life cycle because I don't see any mention of a dark mode. So I got to mention that's coming down the road after it rolls out. Then they'll add in the dark mode because we know how important that is. But yeah, Gmail getting it's funny because I didn't get the update yet. And I looked at my Gmail to see if it had updated. And I was like, oh, this looks so old. So I'm glad it's finally getting that visual upgrade it deserves, Gmail.
You mean you don't like the walk down nostalgic path of?
No, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on. So
I finally deleted Inbox from my phone today.
And
put the Gmail icon into its place.
I installed the new Gmail, and I thought about doing that. I was like, "Is this the time?" And I haven't done it yet.
It's so hard to pull the trigger.
I am installing Gmail right now. I'm installing the update at the moment, and it is installed. I'm going to open it live. We're doing an unboxing here, everybody.
Unboxing.
Make sure you hit the notifications button. I'm opening. Oh no, it didn't update. It's the same app.
Yeah, it didn't update for me. It didn't update for me.
There was literally an update, and I said to do it.
You have to go get it from APK Mirror or something.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm still very depressed that I can't just live with Inbox. That I have to switch to this Gmail thing.
Me too, because
It's
Gmail
really
is just
bummer for me.
I walk in there and it's like, whoa, somebody didn't clean the room.
Yeah, totally.
You walk in there and you're like, what happened?
Like my inbox, automatic kind of
it made it,
labeling and
it
stuff
put all the
made
stuff
everything
under the
really
bed.
easy to manage. I spend so much more time with my mail in Gmail than I did with Inbox. With Inbox, I could just do a few things.
Yes, because it shows you what you haven't read, and I really don't care what I haven't read because I'm still not going to read it. It's going to remain unread. Unless it's really important.
The Inbox is chronological ordering, where it groups it by this month, last month, long time ago, and you can go in and you pin a few things and then you sweep.
Exactly.
Literally just throw it all into a trash can, essentially. Gmail doesn't have that, and that kind of sucks.
Really does.
Oh, this became a pity party, guys.
I know.
I'm sad now.
Gmail's getting better. Give it a shot, everybody. Come on, give it a break.
Shut up, Ron.
I'm downgrading.
Let's do a listener email so that way we can cheer ourselves up because we have fans.
Let's do it.
Yes? Okay, so this one comes from Matt, all the way from Louisville, Kentucky. And Matt writes, your discussion about old Moto flip phones on episode 404, it is found, certainly brought back some memories. In the early 2000s, I was big into pocket PCs. So was I, Matt. And I had the Motorola StarTAC flip phone. I purchased a null modem cable, which would attach my iPad to the phone, allowing me to surf, send emails, and use messenger apps. I remember reading about this on the internet, and I thought it was so cool.
I haven't heard the term null modem cable in years, and I can tell you, I had null modem cables, and wow, that's awesome. Okay, carry on.
The speed was pathetically slow, but I was connected. I remember that feeling. When traveling for work, I'd connect to a service called Avant Go just before the door would shut on the plane, and I'd download news snippets and articles to read during the flight. That was highfalutin.
I remember Avant Go. That was great. I had that on my Trio. I had the I had the cellular modem plug-in on the Trio, and Avant Go would get. Lucky. That was very cool.
I did not have internet. I had to physically sync it with my computer.
Yep.
Matt says we've come a long way since then, and we really have, because again, I don't have to sync anything to a computer before leaving the house. Those are rough days when you have to sync podcasts to your iPod so you can have them on the bus.
And then you're running late and you have to go, and you're
you have nothing, and your whole day is ruined because you did not start your routine. We take these things for granted now.
Yeah, we do.
We really do.
We do. It was, yeah. Sorry, I realized I didn't create the poll, so
it takes
I'm
forever with an iPad.
I'm cramming for it does.
Yeah, it takes forever. I can see over there just
I feel like the Twit Switch needs to have a caveat that you're allowed to use the tool you need to produce the shows you make, Jason.
I agree.
I think this honestly was just me forgetting to do it. I could have done it at my other computer, so I can't even blame the computer for it. But if I was on my Pixel Slate, I could have done this a lot faster than I'm doing it right now. That's for sure.
You can do it
Full web browser.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. I just want to paste.
Yeah. You can do it while Ron does the ad.
I was just gonna say, I'll talk slowly and give you some time to paste or to run back to your desk and do it. But
that's a good idea too.
We're gonna thank our next sponsor. We want to thank Hover for sponsoring this episode of All About Android. And you've heard us talk about Hover before in the past because building your online brand has never been more important. And buying a domain name is the first and biggest step to building your personal brand online. And let me tell you, there's been numerous times I've had amazing brainstorms, and the first thing I did was register that domain name because that's going to be the key to having a good, successful brand. And Hover is celebrating their 10th anniversary with never-before-seen sales. So hurry over and check them out. Every couple of days, they'll be highlighting a new promotion, including $10.coms, $10 small mailbox registrations, and more. The sale began on January 16th, and the last promotion ends tomorrow on January 30th, if you're listening to this on January 29th. So act now, everyone. Very quickly, please. Go to Hover because they're awesome. Hover's been around for the past 10 years, and when you think about it, we've been registering domain names I've been registering domain names for over 20 years, and it used to be a real pain in the butt until Hover came along 10 years ago and made it a lot more easier, a lot more affordable, because they just bring great service. They've got features like offering 400 domain extensions to choose from. They've got best-in-class customer support teams and no upsells. I cannot tell you how much the upsell drives me crazy with some other domain name registrations. That's why I use Hover, because I don't want that upsell. They've got a clean and simple user experience and interface, And the Hover Connect feature allows you to connect your domain name with many different types of website builders and content management systems. You can easily add as many mailboxes as you want to any domain, and the forwarding feature for only $5 a year. Prorated cost so that it renews alongside your domain. It's reliable and inexpensive. And I got to tell you, Hover, they've been, like I said, they've been around 10 years. You're not in this business for 10 years if you don't have great customer service. We were talking about that earlier in the show, as well as great tools and easy to use interfaces to allow you to use those tools so you can set up your domain, get all that stuff taken care of, register your domain, set up your website, do what you need to. Hover makes it that much easier. So listen, you want to kick off 2019 with a domain name from Hover. Visit hover.com/10 years today to take advantage of their 10th anniversary sale. $10.coms and small mailboxes. But hurry, the sale ends January 30th, so act now. That's hover.com/10 years. And you can always go to hover.com/twit for 10% off your first purchase. And we thank Hover for their support of All About Android and the Twit network, and for just being an awesome domain registrar. That's awesome. Thanks, Hover. Happy birthday, Hover. I tip my hat to you.
It's time for the arena.
So many enter, but only one lives.
Thank you for all that time too, because I was able to do what I needed to do. Yes, Victor just checked the URL because I had to change it. If I was on my Pixel Slate, I would have been able to use the URL we normally do. But hey, you work with what you got. Twit.to/AAA poll 404 was last week's poll. And
who won?
Let's see here. I'm trying to figure it out. Who did win?
Oh, I can't tell because he didn't do it.
Let's see here. Well, okay, so I'm getting the vote. I have to vote because I haven't voted yet. So I'm going to vote for mine. Of course I will.
That influences the
It changes
the
it a little bit, but I doubt it's going to change it much. Let's see here. It appears that Action Dash wins by a lot.
Not surprised.
This maybe isn't the best way to show our results.
Why did we have an arena last week?
That's fantastic, by the way.
This is all I got. That's Action Dash, and these are the other ones.
And that's us.
Yes, all those little ones down there. And then Chris Lacey's Action Dash.
Yeah, I mean,
that Jason, what you just did there reminds me of I remember the first week MSNBC went on air, and it was this big, it's a new news network, and it's Microsoft and NBC coming together, and unfortunately there was a plane crash, and so they were trying to show where the plane crashed, and they were holding up an atlas like a map and pointing to it because they didn't have the graphics ready yet, and so.
Yep, sounds pretty familiar to this point in time.
So
I will translate though. Action Dash, 51, almost 52%.
50.
Second place was App Tiles. So that was 23% ish, right around there. Third place was Outrush. That was mine, 16 or 17%. And then fourth place was Actions by Moleskine or Moleskine or Moleskine.
People didn't like that subscription model. I can tell you that much. I shouldn't have mentioned that. So with those results though, I'm still in first place with 11 points after 3 weeks. Flo and the guests are now tied for second with 8 points. And Jason, you're in last with 5 points, but it's still early. You can catch up. It's fine.
Thank you. Thanks for the vote of confidence there. Okay, so I guess that means, Ron, you were last place this last time. So you go first. Right. And I have it installed. I'll show it off.
Awesome. Well, so if you're like me, you probably cut the cord. You don't have cable. I know the Twit network, we were all watching video online, and we don't like cable. But there's so many TV shows and so many movies out there to watch the stream. It's hard to keep track of them. Flixie is the app that I'm bringing to the arena today. It's free in the Google Play Store. And what it allows you to do, it's like there are other apps out there like Just Watch and stuff like that I've used in the past. But Flixie actually is brand new and has got a great interface. And makes it real easy to not only find where things are streaming, but also help you to be on top of the stuff you want to watch and remind you when it's coming out. So in the screen here, you're going through all movies, right? But if you go on TV shows, it's the TV shows that really get me, because on the movie side, you can tap a movie and it'll tell you where it's streaming, whether it's available for rental or for sale or whatnot. Well, that's currently in there. But if you go to that's in theaters, it's got all IMDb information. But if you go to like search, let's just search for a movie that's already out. So let's hit the search button on the upper left-hand corner.
I think this just came out. Grinch.
I did it? All right.
Yeah.
So go to watch, hit watch under there. There it is.
Oh, well, it's not tracking it. Okay. Well, then, so then do a search.
Star is Born.
Oh, no, that's still out. So, yeah, but you can do an old movie. Like, search, go hit the search button on the upper left-hand corner.
Okay. All right.
Search for Saturday Night Fever, which I just watched last weekend.
There you go.
Saturday night.
I know it's
I don't know if this is even streaming. There it is.
Oh,
all right, so do watch.
Okay, watch. There we go.
Oh, there it is. Cool. Okay, so it tells you all the different areas that it's available, and depending on what like I use Amazon. I also use Google Play. I don't use Canopy, but I don't use. Maybe you want to use Vudu. A lot of different people. Different choices. That's the great thing about the streaming world. There's so many choices, but it's hard to know where stuff is available. So this is keeping track of that and connects you with the stuff you want to watch. But if you go back to the TV shows, so hit the upper right-hand corner to close the search and go to TV shows, right? So a lot of times we hear about a show, but you don't know when it's coming out or when it's, coming. So like Game of Thrones, right? When is the new season of Game of Thrones? That sort of thing. You can actually, what you can do is you can add it to your watch list up in the right-hand corner, which I think you actually have to, you need to log in, so you need to create an account to do it. But once you log in, it will keep track of all the shows you want and then give you a notification saying, hey, Game of Thrones starts tonight. And then you're like, oh, right, because that's my biggest problem is somebody tells me about a show or I hear about it. I want to remember to actually watch it. And sometimes stuff isn't out yet and you need to be reminded of it. So this helps you do that. It's called Flixie, TVs and movies, streaming. It's got great information, great design, free in the Google Play Store. You can't go wrong. Flixie, there you go.
Flixie, there you go.
Oh, you can also keep track of what you have seen and what you haven't seen. So if you're like, oh, I haven't seen this, then you say, I have seen this, there you go.
Oh, some spoilers. Okay. Excellent. That is called Flixie, Flixi, and it is free.
Yep, there you go.
All right. Mine is an app that I saw posted on Reddit. It seemed like a kind of a low install developer was like, hey, I noticed that this wasn't very easy to do, so I created an app and made it look good and gave it some functionality. And it's about Billboard music charts, which personally, I'm not a huge follower of Billboard music charts. However, at the same time, I do have 2 young daughters, and they love the music of the day, as it were. So they probably would really enjoy the music that is found on some of the Billboard charts. And I just liked how this app was designed. And sometimes it's also fun to go back in time and look at old charts from previous years with Billboard to kind of like take a trip, back to like 95 and find out like what everybody was listening to. So what do we have here? This is called Billboard Top Music Charts and Latest Music Trends. It is free. You can remove the ads for $4.99. And basically, so what we're looking at right now is the current Hot 100 chart. And it'll show you the chart itself. I just like the design of it. As you move around, you see things kind of settle into place down there. It's got some nice animations and everything, and you can kind of, go to the different sections. This is pop, right? If I wanted to listen to or check out the video for Without Me by Halsey, I just tap it. It links right up to YouTube and takes you right there. And if you happen to be a Halsey fan, maybe you're screaming at me because I'm pronouncing her name wrong. I don't know. But anyways, there you go. And see, it has like a little pop over because I think that's YouTube's feature. I'll go ahead and get rid of that. You got your rock charts, your R&B. Let's go back to rock for a second. Down here is this little calendar. This is like your time machine, and you can go back in time. Not every chart goes back super far. Like the rock charts go back as far as 2009, and I could do that, and it would pull up June 20th, 2009, the charts. Green Day, Know Your Enemy was number 1. Linkin Park, Flo's favorite band.
R.I.P. Chester.
Oh, here's the new metal.
New Divide. Kings of Leon. Oh, I can't stand them. Anyways. Yeah, they
found his weak spot,
They rubbed me the wrong. Oh, friend of the show, Marshmello.
Oh, there he is.
If you remember, everyone's like, what are you even talking about? Marshmello opened one of his DJ sets, and it's on YouTube with a clip from this show with Ron saying...
Oh, that's right.
What were you saying?
This is what we all been waiting for.
This is what we all been waiting for.
And it's Flo saying Marshmello. Flo's in there, too.
Marshmello. Yeah, so somehow that made it into Marshmello's stage show. I don't know, but it did. Somebody sent that in. Anyways, if you wanted to, you could tap through, and that would take you to Marshmello's music video. But what I wanted to show off here is, I think in pop, if you go back in time, it goes back to 1992.
Okay.
And back in 1992, let's see here. Top was Boyz II Men, End of the Road from Boomerang, hit movie, if you remember. All I Want from Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Oh, God. Music wasn't much better back then either.
No. Baby, Baby, Baby by TLC. Maybe I want to watch that video. I can. See? It was that easy. So anyways, it's just kind of a fun app to like go through time and maybe check out past hits and current hits.
Go to UK singles in 1992.
Oh, let's see how far back UK singles go. 2011. Were you a big UK singles fan in 2011? Because if so, you would know that Bruno Mars' Grenade was tops.
God.
We'll go ahead and check out the video. Why? Because we can.
I want to catch a grenade for you.
Okay. There you go. I think it's really well done. It's a really nice looking app, and I love those animations. I love when you're scrolling around and things kind of settle into place. It looks really nice. It also has a dark theme. We were looking at the dark theme.
Don't do the light theme.
And you can toggle on the picture-in-picture mode. But this is Billboard Music Charts. It's in the Play Store. Relatively low installs, and it's really well designed. So, check it out for yourself. Billboard top music charts and latest music trends. Okay, Vishnu, we usually have our guest go now, and so we will do that. And I have your app installed, and so I'll show it off while you talk about it.
Cool. So the app is called Hello Weather. It's a weather app, as we have many of. But the cool things here, it's really well designed. The team here is pretty small. It's an iOS dev, Android dev, and a third person who does, I'm guessing, everything else. The default app, it's free. It hits Forecast.io or Dark Sky, and that means you get more real-time weather predictions. Like it's going to rain in 20 minutes and it's going to stop raining in 40 minutes, things like that. It's got a dark mode and a light mode, which folks love. In the free version, that's toggled via time, like sunset, sunrise.
Oh, okay.
You can pay a $5 a year subscription fee to get additional features. And they explain it here. And this allows them to have better customer support and continue supporting the app for a longer time, especially when we saw recently Weather Timeline had to be sold due to support time. This kind of helps out because Forecast.io has a subscription fee for their API. So this weather data does cost money, and this sort of just pays for your usage of that. And so with the subscription, you get widget. I think you get notification, radar. You can toggle dark mode to be all time. And they're just real nice folks that work on the app.
There you go. There's the radar.
Yep.
I should have done that before the show.
It's got some nice copy, nice animation, little colors are nice, all that stuff. And the best part is that share icon up top for me, because I can send our nice weather here in Atlanta to all my friends in the Midwest.
Yeah, I know. I was telling a friend of mine who lives in Detroit how our cold snaps of 50 degrees are really getting to me.
Don't.
Yeah, come on.
Man.
We're already the
especially today with all the polar vortex.
I know, it's crazy. I mean, look at that. Negative 25.
It's -20 in Chicago right now.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I used to live there, and I don't anymore. So
yeah,
Chicago's really only good to visit in May or September.
Just those 2 months.
Everything else, every other month is miserable in Chicago. Oh man.
I mean, negative 22 degrees at 5 in the morning.
Do me a favor. Look up New York. Let's see what I've got. What I've got coming for me in New York City.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. So New York.
New York. It's a hell of a town.
All right. Well, there you
35.
go.
So
Feels like
tonight
30.
and tomorrow. There it is. There's a special weather statement.
Areas of black ice are expected, Ron.
So can you go a 5-day forecast? What do you got there? This week, scroll down. I like the design of this app.
Yeah.
Look at that. Say 5 degrees. Ooh.
So I got asked recently why I use this over like the Google weather app. The Google weather app likes to take 70% of your screen with a frog. And I have nothing against frogs.
It does.
But when I open a weather app, I'd like to see, weather information. So.
Yeah, I like this.
And now that you've paid for the subscription, you can actually change the source too. So at the very bottom, you can click on dark sky and switch out to other sources and stuff.
AccuWeather's 7-day forecast and others. Awesome.
Yeah.
I like dark sky. We'll go back to that. Very nice design. I love it. This looks really nice. And there's the radar. There you are, Ron, right there, covered in green. It makes sense because this is all about Android. Okay.
Nice one.
Thank you. This is Hello Weather. Very good pick. Thank you, Vishnu.
Oh, hello, weather.
Hello, Weather. Which I didn't see you standing there.
Hello, weather.
Flo.
Yes.
You're up next.
So do we remember Francisco Franco?
Heck yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
He is not impressed.
I brought one of his apps to the arena today because
He's not impressed by that either.
Well, I brought it because. So listen,
That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut.
It is.
By the way.
It's a deep cut. It really is.
All right. So I brought Calendar Widget by Home Agenda. It's by friend of the show, Francisco Franco. And I still use widgets on Android. And I really like this because it is basically a much nicer, it's just a really nice looking calendar widget and it's fully customizable. And I paid $1.99 because A, support your devs, and B, I wanted to be able to do all the stuff to it. So as you could see, this is my calendar for the week. I don't have much going on, except for things I think I'm going to try and do. And the nice thing is it doesn't matter how many calendars I have on here because they all just look beautifully uniform on this widget that I can easily increase or decrease as I want. And of course, when you tap on something, it takes you to the Google Calendar page in the Google Calendar app. So you're not leaving apps you don't have to use a different app to deal with the things that you'd like to do inside Calendar. But at least you can have things nicely presented here for you. If you need to add a date, you could just easily do that look at that. The Google Calendar pops up. You don't even have to go searching for the app. Whoop. You can go into the calendar as easily as you'd like. You can also go into the settings, and now here's where it gets fun. So in the settings, you can just pick from all these robust little things. You can let it show you past events if you'd like. You can choose how many number of days to show. You can choose how many events to show at a time. You can also take care of the appearance. You can make it compact or super compact if maybe, let's see, you want something a little more. How does this look like? Look at that. Very compact. It actually gives you more options there, and it gives you the color of the calendar you're looking at. It gives you toolbar appearance, whether you want to show the weather temperature, a couple of extra things. Toolbar opacity. I love to make my own wallpapers, and so the opacity of a widget is important to me so that I can see my creation on the screen. And you can choose rounded corners. There's so many. There's a lot of options. And then of course you can go and you can choose which calendars are shown, and it shows you the color, and it's just a really, really nice calendar widget. Nice. So $2 gets you all those features, or you could try it for free. You could use the free version.
Right on. Calendar widget by Home Agenda, developer Francisco Franco, friend of the show. Also says best of 2018 right there.
Look at that.
Best.
How did that not get in yet? Good job.
I don't know.
So the reference, for those who want to go into the deep cut, I put the link in the chat, Victor. Episode 227 of All About Android that was titled Francisco Don't Care. And it was August 18, 2015. nearly 200 episodes ago, and it was friends of the show, Francisco Franco and good friend now, but Liam Spradlin was on the show.
It was right before I started.
He works for El Goog now.
And the thumbnail shows Jason with a little torch and a bag of marshmallows on the desk. So I assume it was right after Marshmallow came out.
I don't know why you would assume that. Yes, you're right. That was probably the reveal.
Yep. So
it's a classic. It's a classic deep cut.
Before I joined, this was a month before I joined the show.
Yeah. Yeah, we'd had you on as a guest at this point a few times, but not as a full-time host.
Classic Francisco.
Ah, yes. Thank you, Ron, and thank you, Flo, for showing that off.
And thank you, everyone here.
And thank you. Bit.ly/AAA poll 405 is the URL you're going to use this week. Bit.ly/AAA poll 405 to place your vote for your favorite app. Is it Billboard Top Music Charts, Flixie, Calendar Widget by Home Agenda, or Hello Weather? Victor cannot decide. Or can he? Flixie gets Victor's vote.
Because Victor wants to know what to watch on TV. He wants to know where to find.
He's a watcher of the
Fever.
TV and the
right?
movies and the stuff.
Yep. I've been wanting to watch Saturday Night Fever again.
It's actually a very sad movie.
And so far, 2 things have been voted for, but I can't see which 2. Flixie and Hello Weather.
Hello Weather.
Equal replies. This will go up by next week. And I did set it so that everybody gets the results after they make their votes. So there you go.
Thanks for bearing with us, everyone.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not our fault.
We're going to have to change it again.
Well,
we're going to have to change the poll.
Yeah.
Because it's paid now. So we're not doing our polling thing through a paid service. So
do we have a new solution or no?
No, I haven't spent any time on that.
Should we have people contribute to event vote?
I don't even know. No. We'll figure something out.
So we can host
We
the
can do
poll.
this. Maybe there's an Android app we should use. I don't know. That's it for this week. Always a lot of fun. I knew this episode was going to be a lot of fun, and it was made even more fun because of your presence on the show, Vishnu. Really appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us for a couple of hours tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah, right on. We will have you back for sure. Where do you want people to follow you online? Just at your Twitter handle? Or?
Yeah, just Twitter. I don't really do much else.
All right.
It's a lot of pictures of my dog. So.
All right. Good. People like dogs around here.
That's good advertising.
At Vishnu Rajeevan, so Rajeevan. Find Vishnu on Twitter. Thank you so much, man. We'll talk to you next time. We'll bring you on soon. Cool. Appreciate it. And Flo, what's new in your world?
What's new in my world? I don't go to florenceion.com.
That works. That's like new. That's old.
I like
That's
how
everything.
she looked around the room for something to say before she realized that she didn't live there.
What's new in my world? The clock on the wall. No.
I love lamp.
I'm updating the website. I'm taking your questions. I have a pool of questions in my email now that I will be putting out on the site. This is a lot of alpha beta stuff going on with Flow Feed right now, but stay tuned because what's the
URL?
florenceion.com.
Cool.
That's
the
it.
URL.
One more time. florenceion.com.
I have a lot of plans for it this year. Ooh. So thank you for your support and for those of you who've been sending in emails. I really appreciate it.
Right on. And speaking of on, Ron.
I'm sorry. I was submitting a question to Flo.
Oh no!
Prepare yourself, Flo. Who knows what you're gonna get?
Okay, cool. Sorry, I had important question to ask Flow Feed. All right, yeah. So you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RonXO, and you can also, if you like podcasts, go listen to my other podcast, Finale Podcast, found at finalepodcast.com. We are now on a bi-weekly schedule. We dropped a new episode today. We did episode 17, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a classic, some think great series finale. So we watch that and talk about it as me and my co-host Carrie break it down and try to remember what the heck the show was about nearly 20 years ago. And we did The Sopranos before that. And we're working up to our landmark episode number 20, which is featuring the audience voted on Seinfeld. We'll be doing the Seinfeld.
Oh.
Yep.
That'll
so
be interesting.
You definitely want to stay tuned for that. So yeah, do all that. Go to finalepodcast.com, subscribe. We're on Pocket Casts, so that's all you need.
Awesome. So in order to prepare for this show, does the one of you that's very familiar and seen all of them, do you like have to like rush and watch all of the previous episodes to catch up?
That's the great part of it, is that we don't watch any of the previous episodes to catch up, no matter what our status is of our history. And we recently we changed, we mixed up the format about 5 or 6 episodes ago, where we talk about the show before we watch the finale, and we discuss our history of it and what we remember of it, and then we pause, we go watch the finale, and then we discuss the series finale. So
That's
it's
good.
fun.
I like that.
So,
that's really good. Right on, Ron. FinalePodcast.com. Victor, thank you for all that you do. We salute you, Victor.
No problem, man.
Appreciate it. You can find me here on Twit. It's true. I'm doing This Week in Google tomorrow, though. So if you were wondering why we didn't talk about the Huawei story, the big Huawei news this week, I don't know. It just kind of seemed
we're getting in. You guys,
it's all good.
Y'all are getting into it tomorrow.
We'll get into it tomorrow.
Yeah.
You can migrate your inbox to Gmail on air tomorrow and see what happens.
That sounds like a really great idea that won't result in me locking myself out of my account or something. It's time for our yearly Twit survey. We want to hear from you if you have opinions, if you have thoughts, things you like, things you don't. It's all about us serving you better here on the Twit Network. So head over to twit.to/survey19. That's survey19. Go there. Answer as many questions or as few questions. We don't do anything with that data other than read it and learn from you. So we really appreciate your input and your feedback and all of that stuff. And hopefully we can continue to create great content for you that you like. So twit.to/survey19. That's it for this week. Voicemails can be left at 347-SHOW-AAA. Send us emails at AAA@twit.tv. You can find us on Twitter. We are at Android Show. Our Arena apps list, every app that we've brought into the Arena, can be found at twit.to/Android apps. Our show notes and past episodes are kept on our one place on the web where pretty much everything can be found, twit.tv/AAA. That's our home on the web. You'll find everything. Our record times, which are Tuesday, starting around 5 p.m. Pacific. You can find our podcast links. You can find us laughing, big picture of us laughing, and every single episode of the show. If you want to start from episode 1, you can there. And catch us live if you like. Like I said, at 5 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday. You can go to twit.tv/live to do that. That's it for this week. We'll see y'all next week on another episode of All About Android. Bye, everybody.
Bye.